Here is what I wish I knew before I became a real estate agent, a realtor, if you will. Welcome back to Keys and Contracts. Today we're going to talk about some personal things that I go through as a realtor and just things that I wish I knew before I got my real estate license. I did know a lot because my dad is also a realtor, so I already had some behind the scenes. But now that I've been a licensed realtor for 4 years now, here are some things that I wish I knew that somebody should have told me. This first thing that I didn't know is going to sound so trivial because me myself, I don't like salespeople. No shade to the salespeople, and I'm not talking about regular salespeople. I mean that car dealership kind of vibe, like that really hungry, aggressive vibe. I did not expect real estate to be like that, to where like people are, I mean, you're a salesperson. I definitely know that. My license says salesperson. That's actually what you're called. But it's like, I just didn't realize I didn't realize I was getting into sales. I really didn't. As crazy as that sounds, I didn't realize it was going to be a thing like that. Because it's like, I feel like buying a house is different from buying a car. Like, you have to get pre-approved. And I mean, you're not convincing someone to buy a house. I feel like it's like the way I feel. I'm kind of blunt. I'm kind of like black and white with certain things. So it's like, if you want to buy a house, you want to buy a house, and I want to make sure you get that house. I'm going to do everything in my power for you to get that house. If you're not sure, I can walk you through it. But if you don't want to buy a house, I'm not going to sell you on one of the biggest purchases of your life. So it's like, it's weird. I don't know. Just being like a salesperson for some reason is weird for me. The negotiations is fine. I'm great at negotiating. I'm great at communicating and talking to people and all that, getting my point across. But when I think about myself being a salesperson, is just weird. I don't know why, it's just weird to me. I hope that makes sense. And I still actually don't think of myself as a salesperson, even though it's like a sales job. But I feel like it's very different from most sales jobs. Most sales jobs, you have a product like on hand. And in real estate, it's just not the same. Even if you have a listing, you only have a product to sell. If you have a listing, other than that, you're selling yourself, and you're selling, your ideas, and you selling your knowledge, your experience, and what you bring to the table as a realtor. You're selling, to a buyer. But I just never thought of myself as being ever working in sales and being a salesperson, even though I quite clearly am right now. Well, another thing I didn't know about becoming a realtor is that it would be expensive. I'm right now paying monthly for some of my back end systems. I'm paying monthly for trainings. And I love my mentor. If y'all know Kiana Watson, I love her. I'm paying monthly for trainings. I am just for a lot of things to go smoothly in the background. You have to pay for that stuff. Now, there's a lot of things and shortcuts you can take, especially in the beginning, so that it's not so expensive. And I'm still taking shortcuts now. But you do have to, you probably heard it before, it's like a pay to play kind of business. Once you start elevating and once you really start get the ball rolling, you want things to be a certain way, and you're more than likely, once you start making that money, going to want to invest to really set yourself apart from other realtors. While I do pay for trainings, my broker does give me a lot of free training, a lot of opportunities to take free trainings. And I would not suggest you just go out here and buy any old willy-nilly fluffy course. I can't stand a course that just gives you all this motivation. I do not like to pay for motivation. I don't like to pay for somebody to tell me you can do it, because I already knew that. I want the details. I want the ins and outs. I want to see your templates. I want to see exactly what you're doing to make your business successful, exactly what you're doing to organize. If I just say everybody can sell a house, you just started real estate, and all you got to do is make these calls. Well, when I make the calls, what am I going to say? I want the trainer that's going to tell me what I need to say, not just call people. Where am I getting the numbers from? I need to know all the details. So those are the kind of trainings I like. If it's not that kind of training, I don't need a just do this every day. Wake up 5 in the morning, wake up 6 in the morning, and you'll be, I don't need that crap. I need to know the details. Okay. Another thing that I kind of knew, but I didn't really really get a good grasp of it, is that if you're not generating leads, it doesn't matter how much you know, how much training you have, how much of a brilliant realtor you are, how well you're good at negotiating. It doesn't matter. If you're not getting leads, if you're not having people actively come to you saying, Brianna, I want to use you, or, whatever your name is, Susie, Michael, John, whatever your name is, if they're not saying, hey, I want to use you as a realtor, or if you're not actively doing things to put yourself in front of people, all that knowledge is going to go to waste because you're not going to be able to use it. You're not going to be able to use it. So it's great to have the knowledge, but you have to apply the knowledge. The only way you can apply it is by having leads. You must consistently generate leads. You have to generate leads in your sleep. Shout out to YouTube. You have to generate leads in your sleep, like literally. You have to. And social media is one of the best platforms to me because it takes time, but it doesn't really take money unless you're paying for ads and all that kind of stuff. So that's the best part about social media. You don't have to really pay for it. Like you're paying for leads, like paying for Zillow leads or paying for realtor.com leads or whoever. And I've done that in the past and I've had no luck, like absolutely no luck with converting any of those leads. Maybe I didn't do it long enough, but it got to the point where it was just like, look, I wouldn't even take these leads for free. I mean, they were just, they were just not good leads. But on the other hand, a lot of people do have very successful businesses paying for leads, and they pay for lots of leads. Like they pay for $1,000 a month, like lots of leads, and they get filter through those leads. So maybe I just didn't invest enough, but they filter through those leads, and they're making a business off of it. Those leads, and then those leads refer them to other people, and it works out great for them. I just did not have any luck generating leads that way. But yeah, you've got to figure out a way to get yourself in front of people. Pick the best way that you feel the most comfortable with, or the way that you feel like people are reaching out to you the most, and stick with that. Exploring other avenues of lead generation, especially when it comes to social media. Like some people have great luck on TikTok. Some people have better luck on Instagram, YouTube, it just depends. So for me, YouTube is my favorite platform. So maybe naturally that's why more people gravitate towards me better on YouTube. And I would say maybe I'm the most active on here too, but I don't know if that's really true. Pick your platform, go with that one. Don't totally neglect the other ones, but definitely go hard on the one that you think, or the one that has had the most people to reach out to you. Another thing I wish I would have known about real estate is burnout. Yeah, burnout is a real thing. I think if you own a business, if you're an entrepreneur, if you have a 9-to-5, it could be for anybody. If you're a mom, if you're a stay-at-home mom, any job, any situation, you can definitely experience burnout. For me, I feel like being a realtor, I feel like being a realtor can definitely, if you're not careful, you can just be burning yourself out. Like you can really easily get burnt out. And I think for me, the reason why I felt like, and sometimes I still feel it, that I get burnt out or get to the point where it's just like what's that lady on Everybody Hates Chris, where she's like, I don't need this, my man got 2 jobs.
I do not need this, my husband has 2 jobs.
And that is not true. That's not true. My man don't have 2 jobs. I just want to quit. Sometimes I feel like I just want to quit because it's just so much. And I think for me, what happens for me is the passion and the overthinking. But the passion that I have for real estate, I can literally do it, something involving real estate, all day long. Literally all day long, because I really love real estate. I love being a realtor. Because I love it so much, I can spend a lot of time doing it. I love mostly every single part of the job, but it does come to a point where it's like, okay, I'm tired. I've put so much energy and effort into this. I am tired. But when those closing days come, you get those like heartfelt letters, you get to the closing table and you get to celebrate with your clients. It just makes it all worthwhile. Like, I think one of the sweetest closing gifts that I received was from one of my clients' daughters. Wrote me a letter telling me how much she appreciated being in her new house, and just all the feel good things. Like, it just made me feel so good. And stuff like that just kind of keeps you going and keeps you from feeling kind of burnt out. But yeah, I would definitely be careful getting burnt out. You need to I'm not gonna say you need to wake up at 6 a.m. and all that, but you definitely need to just kind of block out your time for certain things. And sometimes you think you're doing work and you're not really doing work. You think you're doing work, but you're not really getting anything done. And if you ever get to that point, you need to stop and go to bed. Take a nap, reset, or whatever. Sometimes you're doing something and you're running in circles and it's absolutely no reason to be doing it. So, and then if you're going to burn yourself out and just work yourself down to the bone, don't do it on frivolous things. Do it on money making activities, not on things that are just going to not mean anything. Another thing I wish I knew that I kind of already knew, but yeah, so I consider myself to be a people person, but not necessarily an extrovert. So I'm more of an introverted person. I'm not very, I don't know, it depends on who you ask, but I wouldn't consider myself to be very outgoing and, like, hey, everybody, look at me. I'm definitely not that kind of person. And I'm not trying to be that kind of person either. And that's not my goal. Even though I'm sitting here in front of a camera with lights and a microphone, that's not my goal. I didn't realize how much extroverting I would have to do. I knew that I would have to talk to people about buying homes, about, giving education and all that. But to really get yourself out there, you do have to do some level of extroverting to get yourself out there. You can do it in your own kind of way, but you definitely have to do a little bit more extroverting than you might be comfortable with if you're more of a person that's an introvert and doesn't speak up and doesn't, talk as far as lead generation and letting people know things like that. As far as lead generation, when it comes to my clients, we're good. I could tell my clients anything because we're going to make sure we got this. Okay. But when it comes to like lead generation and talking to people, like, it took me a while to even feel comfortable with having just a regular conversation. It's like, okay, I'm thinking in the back of my head, like, okay, am I going to slip in that I'm a realtor? At what point did I tell them I'm a realtor? Do I tell them, hey, I'm a realtor? Do I just slip in my business card? How am I going to let this person how am I going to let this person know that I'm a realtor and I'm in real estate and all that? And it really doesn't have to be that complicated. But I feel like when you're not used to putting yourself out there in that way, especially because I don't like strangers just approaching me and telling me about their business and catching me off guard. And I'm just trying to mind my business, shopping in Target, or, just going about my regular day. Not that you have to be so salesy that you're annoying, but there is a way, and you just have to just break out of that. And I'm talking about myself. You just really just have to break out of that, because if you don't tell anybody in real estate, they'll never know. And you'll have this passion for doing the job and doing the work, but you won't have anybody buying or selling with you because you're afraid. So you really can't be afraid. You really have to have no fear. It took me a while to kind of break out of my shell, like, completely. And I'm not trying to say I'm, out the nest, jumping out the nest with it. But I will say that I've become a lot more comfortable talking about, my business and working with me, because like I was talking to my friend the other day, I'm doing people a disservice by not telling them about my business and how I can help them, and not working in a mode where you can help and you can provide services and you can provide value to people who are trying to buy and sell. Because they could be, if you don't say anything and they decide to work with somebody else, they could lose money, they could lose out on money, and they could have a bad experience, they could have a terrible experience, and there could be things that they just don't know. And you think, if you're confident in yourself, working out of fear is only doing yourself a disservice. So if you're an introvert, or claim, or, think you're a little more introverted, like I would classify myself, then, you just got to get out of it. When it comes to doing your passion and doing what you really want to do, you could be introverted in some other areas, but this is not going to be the one. Not saying you got to go to all the parties and all the things, 'cause I don't do that either. But when it comes to, just having real regular conversations, you have to be willing to share things about your business and let people know who you are. Let people know what you do. I'm getting myself out there as much as possible. So I'm talking to myself as well. I had this conversation with myself last year, and you will see a world of difference once you get out of that shell. If you're in a shell, you may already be, an extrovert and be ready to just hit the ground running, just yelling from the rooftops. I'm a realtor. Hey, everybody. Hey. Yeah. So that's just one thing that I kind of knew, but didn't really know the extent to where I was going to have to now put myself out there. If that makes any sense. I'm sure it's going to resonate with somebody. The last thing that I want to talk about here in this video, about what I did not know or something I wish I knew, and it's actually a good thing for me. So I went to Howard University. I went to school to become a psychologist. So my very first job, well, in college at least, which is quite a few years ago now, in college, I wanted to be a child psychologist. I stopped at getting a bachelor's degree. Of course, I wanted to go further because that's the name of the game. But after I graduated and had so much debt, I was like, there's no way that I'm going to keep going at this rate and having this amount of debt. So I decided to stop doing that. I was already working. By the time I graduated that same year, I started working a contract job with the government. So even now, I would still like to be a psychologist or a child psychologist, and that's what I wanted to do. But I feel like that's probably not going to happen unless somebody pays my way through school. But either way, being in real estate, I actually get to, I wouldn't say use psychology because of course I was never a psychologist, but I kind of feel like I get to use a little bit of my major, and the kindness, the caring that I show towards people, and what I learned getting my bachelor's in psychology. You kind of use that a little bit. You kind of end up using that because you meet all kinds of different people, and helping them through this process can be really challenging on somebody's mental, especially when they're trying to sell a house and buy a house. It's just a lot. So being empathetic, just kind of being there for people in a way that is like a therapist is kind of cool. To me, it's kind of cool. So that's something that I didn't expect and never even thought of that it would kind of happen. But yeah, you get people who talk to you a lot, they confide in you a lot, and they just kind of trust you. So they end up telling you things that have nothing to do with real estate as well. But you just kind of build relationships that kind of turn into that, or just kind of become that. You're just trying to, it's just something that I didn't expect. But that's another part that I love about real estate, that you get so personal with people that it's almost kind of like therapy for them sometimes, or therapeutic. I'll say therapeutic because I'm not trying to be nobody's therapist. I'm a realtor. No. So those are the things I wish I knew about before I got my real estate license, before I delved into this real estate business. And that's pretty much it for now. Thank you so much for watching Keys and Contracts. We have one more video for February, and I mean, I'm just knocking these videos out of the park. Now they may come late in the day because I have to edit this and put it out the same day, but they get done. They're out there every Thursday. So thank you so much. And if you're not following me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram. I post there daily as well, at least in my stories. Brianna Coleman _. If you're not subscribed to this channel right here, subscribe. And I hope you got something helpful out of this video. If you're trying to start your real estate career, or if you're thinking about it, or if you're kind of new to the business, I hope this helps you out. And if you want to see more videos like this, like realtor to realtor kind of videos, let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.
My husband has 2 jobs.